Hi there, Honors U.S. History 10 students. I am Miss Summers. If you do not already know me or haven't seen my face before, I hopefully was able to communicate with a few of you back at the end of the past school year. I put out a video and some instructions and things like that going over the class, kind of a video version of what I would normally do in going over the freshman center to talk to you. That video is still here on YouTube. It is still in Google. I'll put it in Google Classroom so you can watch that one. It talks more just about the overall expectations for honors. So I've definitely watched that if you haven't. But the purpose of this right here is to talk about just the overview for the expectations and policies regarding remote learning that, as we know, is going to be happening for at least the first couple of weeks of school. It will continue to be remote. Even when we come back to a traditional setting, you'll be alternating between being remote and being in a traditional setting. And as we know, this could go on longer. We hope that it won't, but the only thing that is certain is that there will certainly be change. And there's no telling what's going to happen even after we come back. We may have to go back to remote for a while. So I wanted to go over with you kind of what you can expect, what I'm going to expect, and also to talk with you about summer assignment, as well as a few other things. So I'm going to talk through and what I'm showing right here, and this is in Google Classroom if you want to download a copy or you want to even print a copy for yourself. I'm going to be going over these overall remote learning policies with you so you kind of know what is up. Let me first of all go ahead and apologize for the terrible quality of this video. As of right now, I'm having to do this on a Chromebook and the camera is awful. So I'm sorry I look so crazy. I like to be in the videos. I like for you to see my face. I think that makes it more personal. I think that makes it better. But right now the video quality is bad. They promised to buy us webcams. I don't know when that's going to happen. But hopefully video quality will get better. And if it doesn't, I apologize for it being so terrible right now. But let me go ahead and get started because I don't want, my lights went off. Hello, I'm still in the room. Sorry, our lights turn off if you don't move around enough. So I've been sitting here recording videos forever. So let me just jump into, and I'm going to go over with you what the general expectations are. You can follow along with me with what you see in your screen. So the general expectations, one is that we will be using Google Classroom. Google Classroom, we should know pretty well. You guys use Google Classroom a lot, of course, last spring, probably used it even well before that. So everything is going to be posted in Google Classroom, and that's where you'll be submitting all of your assignments, including the summer assignment. You will have to log into Google Classroom every single day. Now, that is something I really want to stress, and hopefully a lot of your teachers are trying to impart that to you, is that the remote learning that we are about to embark on is going to look very different from the remote learning that you did in the spring. In the spring, there were not daily expectations. In the spring, it was kind of 2 assignments a week, and as long as you got them done sometime, it was probably okay. We really were pretty limited as far as how much accountability we could put on you. We are hoping that won't be the case. So there's more responsibility. There's more accountability on you. You are not going to be able to leave things to the end of the week. You are not going to be able to do it all in one day the way that you were able to do then. It will be the expectation that you'll be logging on and doing something every single day for every single class. Assignments must be completed in Google Classroom on time. As I said last semester, I feel like most people were completing stuff on time, but we really did not have the leverage to enforce that a lot. So we had a lot of people turning in things just whenever for really no consequence. And that will not be the case this time. So again, do not let yourself get behind. You can't just leave it all to one day. Even if that's what was working well for you, that's no longer going to be the case. We're trying to kind of simulate to a pretty high degree the same kind of expectations that would be on you if you were in a traditional setting. So you are going to be having to turn things in on time. As far as live interaction, that's been a big question of, are we going to have like a live class? Are we going to have to be logged in at a certain time for you to teach? No, we won't be doing that, but there will be opportunities for live interaction via Zoom if you need it or want it. And I've got listed for you right here in this at the top of the screen. These will be my office hours for Zoom. Those are the moments that I will be on a Zoom meeting. You do not have to log in, but if you want to, you can. That's if you have a question, you have something you want to go over, you didn't understand something, or you just want to discuss something, you can jump on there during those office hours times. That is Monday and Wednesday from 2:30 to 3. Of course, that is Eastern time. And on Friday, for the full hour of 2:30 to 3:30. The reason why it's a full hour on Friday, and one way that it will be a little different on Friday, is the Monday and Wednesday slot those are just for your class. Those are just for Honors US History 10. And the Friday opportunity will include all of my classes. So that will be you guys plus the AP US History, which is 11th grade, and AP Microeconomics, which is 12th grade. So that one's sort of the catch-all. So you wouldn't be the only ones in there. So it may be a little more crowded. I don't know how that's going to work, but I wanted to have one that anybody could hop into if you had a question there before we go into the weekend. So those are the opportunities you have for live interaction, and we go from there. There's some information here you definitely want to get logged into right now, and that is first your Remind codes. First semester group and second semester group have different codes. Second semester folks, if you're watching, you may want to skip on ahead to where summer assignment is discussed, because that's really the only thing that applies to you right now. But you do want to get in on your Remind code, even though you probably will not hear from me after we get past the first day of school and summer assignments turned in. Second semester folks are not going to hear from me. I'm not going to be bugging you about stuff until we get to time. But the summer assignment does pertain to you. Same thing for Google Classroom. Go ahead and get logged into it, because that's how you're going to turn in summer assignment. And then second semester folks, you won't hear from me until December or January. First semester folks, of course, you will. But go ahead. I should have already, or I'm going to be today dropping you guys into Google Classroom. So you shouldn't have to use that yourself. You should be getting an invitation. So go into your email and make sure you accept that invitation. But that should be taken care of by me. If you don't get that, or something else is funny with that, let me know. Overall, going back to the point about things being much more rigorous and there being much more responsibility on you, please pay attention to what's in this little square right here. Overall, please realize that it is your responsibility to log into Google Classroom every single day. It is your responsibility to make sure that you are checking your email. And by that, I mean your school email. That needs to be a common standard operating procedure, general practice for you from now till forever. You need to be using that school email. I know a lot of you don't, and a lot of you don't like using it, and that's fine. You shouldn't be using it really for personal things. But when it comes to corresponding with your teachers, you need to be using that address, and you need to be checking it every single day, really twice a day. I would get in the habit of checking it every day, first thing in the morning, and then towards the end of the school day, even a virtual school day, to make sure there's not something that was sent out last minute. That needs to be done all the time. You need to check those Remind messages. You need to make sure that Remind messages are not turned off or silenced, because we had, I know a lot of, I at least, I'm sure a lot of other teachers had, plenty of issues where last semester, or really any time, where we are reaching out to you, we're emailing, we're sending Remind messages, we're posting things in Google Classroom, but people are not looking. And if you're not looking for it, you're not going to know. Realize again, that the responsibility is on you to do that. That is the expectation, that you are doing that. And so just saying that, well, I didn't do this because I didn't know, I wasn't aware that I had work, is not an excuse, because it's your job to be aware. It's your job to make yourself aware. It's your job to find those answers. And make sure make sure you're looking into that. And that's not just because of this remote situation. That's not just because of this pandemic. That is just part of responsibility. That is part of 21st century student life. That's going to be the case when this is all over. Because that's just, it just is. It's just part of living in a digital world. It's part of living in the 21st century, that you are expected to know, and you're expected to find out if you don't know. So make sure that you realize that responsibility is solely on you. My responsibility is to put the stuff out there for you, which I will do. Without fail, I can promise you that. And your job is to make sure that you're following through on the other end. Now, let me walk you through a little bit about what my plan is for a typical day of remote learning, kind of what the general expectation is going to be, what you can expect to get from me, and what I expect of you every single day. So as far as content, how am I going to teach? How am I going to deliver the information? That is going to be done through videoed PowerPoints. I'll basically be taking all of my PowerPoints and lectures and turning them into video form. It will look a lot like this, where the PowerPoint is going to be scrolling through. This, obviously, that you're looking at is just one page, but it'll be scrolling through the information. I'll be down here in the bottom corner, maybe not in the beginning because the video quality is bad right now, but once I get that fixed, talking through it. And that's how you will get your information. I will give you specific PowerPoint videos to watch each day. Those can run they are lengthy. I will go ahead and admit that. They tend to run maybe as long as 45 minutes. So again, this is going to be more work for you. There's going to be more going on here. Now, let me talk about note taking. Typically, if we were in the remote and in the traditional setting, I would be doing my lectures, going through the information, discussing the material with you, and you would be taking notes. I do insist that you take your own notes. That's one of the things that I think is very, very important. And I honestly believe that it is one of the most important things that you will learn from me is how to take your own notes and how to take good notes. What I mean by taking your own notes is that I don't give note guides. I don't give fill in the blanks. I don't give any handouts at all. It is all you, but I will teach you that process. That's where the remote thing is a little bit tricky because, I'm not going to be able to do that as easily. So what my plan is for now, and you guys being my 10th graders, you don't know me. My 11th and 12th graders have had me before, most of them, so they kind of know how that works, but you don't. So my plan is for now is that I will provide you with some kind of a note-taking guide. I'm not 100% certain on what that's going to look like because I haven't built one yet, but it will be some kind of a outline that you can fill in or something to kind of help you follow along so you know what's important. If we were in the traditional setting, when I lecture, I pause, I repeat things. I kind of have a style that you will learn rather easily and quickly about how I kind of let you know what you need to do and what you should be taking notes on. Obviously, I won't do that in my videos. My videos, I will just go straight through. There's no point in me pausing during a video. There's no point in me repeating things over and over again in a video. So you're going to have to do that pausing yourself. So do expect that you will have to pause those videos, write down things, use your note-taking guide if you want to. Those note-taking guides will be optional. You will not have to use them. You can print them and write on them. You can not print it at all. You can type it on your computer. It's going to be very, very flexible, but I am going to provide that for you since you do not already have a grasp of kind of how I deliver content. So that's my plan for that. And my plan is also to eventually kind of wean you off of it so that by the time we get back to a traditional setting, it will be very easy for you to catch on. And then we won't need that forever because I do insist that you take your own notes. Now, I will give you specific places. When I post a video, I will say, okay, this is talked about here and this is talked about there. Like I will tag specific things, things that are particularly relevant to whatever assignment you're going to be doing. So that way, if you need to go back and look at a particular piece of information for a particular assignment, you don't have to go through 45 minutes worth of me talking to try to find that. So I will do that, but that should not be misunderstood that those parts are the only parts that are important. The whole thing's important, but I will give you kind of those little guides to find specific information. So that's that. All right, then, as well as, you have to watch those videos, you got to take notes, you got to get the information, and you got to be learning your content. There goes the lights again. Hello, we're still in here. I'm still in here. Sorry about that. Okay. So then you will have some kind of assignment that you will have to complete each day. That assignment can vary from just simple questions, reading primary documents. I might send you off on a website or something to go do some things, but you will have something to do each day. Those assignments will be lengthier on some days. Planning on 2 or 3 days a week, that assignment will be very short. That assignment might be just basically like an exit slip, like you telling me something you gained from the video lecture or something like that. So I'm not going to be asking you to do an assignment that takes an hour every single day, but that may be the case a couple times a week. You will turn all that stuff in Google Classroom, and you will have to turn it in a timely manner, as I already suggested. And then, of course, there are those virtual options for face-to-face interaction if you want it or need it or have a question, but that, of course, is optional. So the definites are logging in, watching videos, taking notes, getting your content, and then doing your assignment. That's kind of it. That's sort of what we would do if we were in a traditional setting as well. So there's that. That's kind of what you can expect from me every single day and throughout the week. And we'll continue to hash that out and work out the kinks as time goes along. Let me talk about summer assignments. So those of you that are second semester, you definitely want to listen to this part about summer assignment and what I'm planning to do with that. So you did have a summer assignment. Hopefully most of you knew that. That information was put out on the school's website and Facebook page and all that kind of stuff back in May. If you have questions about what the summer assignment is, it is here in Google Classroom, so you can find it. It's still on the school's main website. It's still on my teacher webpage. And I don't have any intentions of taking it down anytime soon. So there's plenty of opportunities to find it if you do not already have it. But you need to get your hands on that. If you have further questions about how to do that summer assignment, please refer to the video I published back in May about the overall expectations for the class, and I talk about it towards the end. As far as how we're going to turn that in, The original instructions were that was due on the first day of school, and you were going to either hand it in to me in person or you could email it to me prior to the first day of school. Obviously, one, the first day of school is no longer August the 12th, it is now August 17th. So the summer assignment is due August 17th now. Second of all, you're not coming to school. So that means everybody's going to turn it in virtually, and you are going to turn it in via Google Classroom. You may have already noticed that in Google Classroom, which I should have already dropped you into, has a place. It's already set up as an assignment for you to turn that in. So that's where you need to hand that in, and you need to do it by the end of the school day on August the 17th. You can, attach your document. You can take a picture if you hand wrote it. It does not matter. And that'll be the case for any assignments actually that you turn in to me. Any way you want to do that, but you need to turn it in via Google Classroom, and you need to do that by the end of the day, August 17th. That includes second semester folks. Second semester people, you are going to go ahead and turn that in now, even though you will not walk into my class until January. One, a reason for that is because those were the original instructions, and two, that keeps you from having to hang on to it and worry about it and potentially lose it or accidentally delete it or something like that between now and January. So it just gets it out of the way, even though you guys, second semester people, you're not going to see that show up in a grade book until January. I will have it. Lastly, there are a handful of you that already turned in your summer assignment to me via email. I'm going to humbly ask if you would please go ahead and resubmit that a second time in Google Classroom. I'm sorry to ask you to do that, but that is just a lot easier for me. That will put everything in Google Classroom as opposed to me having most of them in Google Classroom and then some of them floating around in my email. That will just help me out a lot. So please, I thank you, those of you that were, because some people even turned it in like before the end of the school year. Please go back and if you wouldn't mind, put that in Google Classroom for me so it's easier for me to find. So that is the deal with Google Classroom. There's a few other things I will go over later, but I don't want this video to run much longer than it's already running. Let me just address one quick thing, and I almost hate to address this because it always sounds to me like I'm asking you for something that, or asking me to, buy supplies. As far as classroom supplies for you, they are simple and basic, and you don't even really have to have them right now anyway. But sometimes every year I get people that always ask if there's anything that I need for the classroom. And so last year I actually made an Amazon list for the classroom. So you could buy things off of that Amazon list if you wanted, and it would go directly here. Keep in mind, these are not individual student supplies. These are classroom supplies like copy paper and, markers and expo markers and stuff like that. So it's not stuff for individual students. It's not supplies that you have to have. And these are also not things, I'm not asking anybody to buy me anything. Please don't feel like I'm asking you to do that. But I do get people that will ask from year to year. So if you want to do that, if you like to do that, I'm going to put the link to that Amazon list in the description box. That's up all the time, but please don't feel like I'm asking you to buy anything. I appreciate it. I'd be eternally grateful, but I'm certainly not asking you to. And I don't give bonus points for it. I know a lot of people, I just want to say that up front because some people think that I'm going to do that. And it's not that I'm being stingy with bonus points. It just feels kind of wrong to me to ask you to buy something for the class. But just know if you did choose to do that, those things would be used by the class. They would stay in the classroom. They would be used by most students or by me. But I'm not, taking them home or anything like that. But that's going to be in the description box if you are interested. And I'm eternally grateful if you choose to do that. But that is, just completely up to you. Please don't feel any pressure to do that at all. But I am grateful. So I'm going to try to wrap it up because we're already pushing 20 minutes here. So I'm going to continue to be in touch with you. I will, we'll start our remote learning on Monday, August the 17th. If in the meantime you have any questions at all, please feel free to email me. You can hit me up on Remind. You can message me in Google Classroom, whatever it takes. I am supposed to be here at school all day during the school day, that is. So feel free to get in touch with me, and I will be getting back in touch with you. So with that, I hope that everyone enjoys their last week of the summer, getting that summer assignment done and getting it turned in Google Classroom. And I look forward to a great year. I don't know what the rest of it's going to look like, but we are going to have a great year somehow, some way.